Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the easiest and best way to complete clutch time fast for Fernando Martin this season, as well as Gilbert Arenas on the clutch time wheel if you get lucky and can get that card, because I do think this Fernando Martin card is arguably the best small forward in my team. He's going to be an absolute elite card right up there with the invincible Giannis type of card. This card looks absolutely amazing on paper. I'm super excited to get a gameplay out with him over the next day or two. But for right now, we're just going to be talking about what you can do in clutch time to make your road to him as easy as possible, be able to complete each tier very effectively and very efficiently, and get through these tiers in these games as quickly as possible. So the first thing we're going to talk about is your lineup. As y'all can see, I have one of the best lineups in the game right here. If I were to put in Blake for Zion, this is like one of the best teams you could build. Obviously, it doesn't have some of the new cards, but it's a very, very good team. But I'm actually going to replace basically my whole lineup with cheaper options. We're going to go with cheaper or free cards instead. So we're going to put Richard Jefferson at the 2. We'll throw, who are we going to throw in the 3? We'll throw Danny Ferry at the 3. He's like 20, 30K. At the 4, we'll throw Bob Nedelicki because he's totally free if you grinded for him last season. And then we'll throw Akeem in at the 5. He's just kind of an average center, not an elite card anymore. This is a very, very reasonable team. This team, you got 2 free cards in RJ and Bob. Ferry's a super, super cheap budget option. Hakeem also very cheap at this point. You can get better free or better budget centers as well for super cheap as well. And then Levine is definitely the most expensive card on this team. I don't really have any elite any elite point guards to use for like the budget options, but there are also very good budget option PGs as well. You know, we'll actually throw in Steve Francis. Why not? Another free card that you got for getting Richard Jefferson. I'm just making my team worse just to show that you don't need the best team in the game and all of the best cards in the game to win in clutch time. You can win with a very, very solid, just an average team if you play smart. So definitely first thing you're going to want to make sure you do is that if your lineup has a bunch of good budget cards, you use the top free cards that you may have gotten in game as well, guys like Richard Jefferson, Bob Nedelicki, and then those top budget options like a Danny Ferry. And yeah, we're going to hop into a game now, and I'll talk about in game what you can do to increase your chances of winning. All right, first thing to talk about is doing defensive settings and offensive settings. I have a video on my defensive and offensive settings on my YouTube channel, so y'all can go watch that if you'd like. But yeah, y'all can also slow down the video and just take a look at the settings I'm doing. So you want to make sure you have defensive settings and you're putting those in on each game to make your job easier, as well as your offensive settings to get your freelance and to space the floor. You can also switch matchups and things like that if you want to. I'm not actually going to switch any matchups in this game. I don't feel like it's really a necessity, but if you want to, you can switch your matchups. But as y'all can see, we're going up against Matt Calvin, Dark Matter, Dr. J, KD, the new Zion, the free Zion, and then AD. So this guy doesn't have an elite team. And that's another thing that you will encounter when you're playing clutch time, is you're going to play a lot of teams like this where it's just got some decent solid cards, but he may not have like the best team in the game. So that's going to make your job easier, especially if you're just using a quality budget squad, or even better if you have some of the top cards in the game, because I know a lot of y'all have God squads as well. But you're going to want to make sure you put in your offensive and defensive settings, and then when you hop into the game, I win the tip. So I'm going to put my freelance on immediately to give myself proper spacing in my pick and roll and things like that. And the way that I like to start out generally is by going straight pick and roll. I feel like pick and roll is really the easiest way to score in the game. As y'all can see, we actually didn't manage to get a good look on that possession, but we get the offensive board and we're able to throw it out to Richard Jefferson for a wide open 3. And one of the things that I talk about every season when I make this video is you want to just take the open shots. You don't want to force things. I know there's a 4-point line in clutch time, and scoring 4-pointers is awesome and everything, but you want to just take the easy shots that are given to you and then just play solid straight up defense. Try not to give up open 3s. Prefer to give up the 2 instead of the 3 if possible as well. We play a really solid defensive possession and are able to get ourselves a stop and give ourselves a 3-0 lead. And now we're in a position where we can kind of control the tempo of the game. I have 2 primary ball handlers on the court in Steve Francis and Richard Jefferson, who both can handle the ball at a high level. And you want to make sure you have at least 1 primary ball handler on the court at all times. Well, I didn't mean to shoot that. That was a mistake. But yeah, you want to make sure you have your primary ball handler or 2 on the court at basically all times to give yourself the best chance of being able to create shots. But I run mainly pick and roll or 5 out, which is going to give you the spacing that you really want to be able to score the ball at a high level. Danny Ferry, catch and shoot for 3. He's going to knock it down. And like I said, you just want to take the open shots that are given to you. 3s are obviously better than 2s, but even if you can just take 2s, it'll definitely score consistently. And that's really the biggest thing, because when you can just play straight up defense, make your opponent work for shots, and then and then take the open opportunities that are given to you, whether it's a 2 or a 3, it's going to put you in the best chance to be successful. And right now, we're being super successful with a 7-0 lead. And like y'all can see, I'm not running this super elite OP team. Like I'm using free cards and budget options. Like this is not a crazy OP team at all. But even with a team like this, you should be able to complete clutch time relatively easily if you just take your open shots, play smart, safe defense. And we get unlucky there with him getting a strip. But like if you just play smart, safe defense and then take your open shots offensively, run your pick and roll, space the floor, don't force 4-pointers and 3s and things like that, and just take the shots that are given to you, you're going to be able to score the ball pretty consistently and pretty effectively, as Danny Ferry is going to get to the rim right there, throw it down again. I also have a dribble tutorial on my channel if y'all want to watch that, just because being able to dribble will also help if you're able to do size ups and drag backs and things like that and create your shots. I was going to throw it up to Steve Francis there and take my dunk, but unfortunately we got caught in a foul animation. But we're pretty much in easy control of the game. So at this point, I just want to make sure that I'm not turning the ball over. When I take a lead like this, where I'm pretty much in control of the outcome already, I just want to make sure, again, that I'm taking my smart shots and I'm not turning the ball over, because that's going to make it really, really hard for my opponent to come back, especially if I don't give him 4-pointers and 3-pointers on the other end. So if I go up 2-3 possessions in the game, I'm going to spend the rest of the game basically not allowing him to shoot 3s, because if he gets 3s and 4s, that's going to give him the opportunity to get back in the game. Whereas if I can prevent him to only taking tough 2s, he's going to still struggle to score, and he's not going to be able to get back into the game easily at all, because then he has to get a lot of stops if he's only scoring 2s. So basically just playing straight up defense, not over rotating or anything like that, and not giving up anything easy, making him work for every single bucket. Another really good defensive possession is going to result in another stop, and you're going to play a lot of guys like this as well who just aren't that good. That's another one of the nice things about clutch time, is without the really tough skill-based matchmaking that you might find in Unlimited, clutch time definitely, even if it does have skill-based, which I don't think it does, but even if it does, it's definitely a less strict skill base, so you're going to play a lot more bad teams and bad players and things like that, and that's going to give you a much better chance of success. As y'all can see, at this point, we are just blowing our opponent out, up 16-2. It's a pretty easy game mode to be successful in most of the time, as long as you play smart offense, take what's given you, and then same thing on defense. Don't give up 3s and play smart defense. Make him work for every 2 he gets. Play off ball. There's nothing wrong with playing off ball. Play off ball as well if you don't feel confidence in your ability to click on and play on ball and things like that. And it's going to put you in a situation just like this, where you are in massive control of the game. And yeah, I think we're going to get a quit. We are going to get a quit. Beautiful. Let's hop back to the main menu and let's review the strategies and talk about what we talked about in this video. So yeah, just to recap what we talked about in this video, the first thing is squad construction. You want to make sure you have at least 1, preferably 2 primary ball handlers, guys with good SIGs that you feel comfortable dribbling with and creating shots. You want to make sure all 5 of your players can space the floor as well. And you want to make sure you take advantage of the free options and budget options in your lineup. If you don't have the top tier Ben Simmons, Michael Jordan, Yao Ming, Kobe Bryant, Giannis, guys like that, if you don't have those top tier best cards in the game, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of the budget options. The Danny Ferries, the Richard Jefferson, who's free, Bob Nedelicki's free. If you don't have Bob, you can run Jack Sikma, who's less than 20,000 MT. At the center position, you can run a Hakeem. He's cheap, but if you have a little bit more MT, you can go out and get a guy like David Robinson, who's also going to be pretty cheap at this point, and a very, very good center option. If you're even cheaper than that, you could run Jack Sikma at the 5 or Jermaine O'Neal at the 5. You could run a Pink Diamond James Wiseman. You just want to make sure you're running solid budget options across the board. Same thing at the point guard position. You can run a Diamond Denny Avdia. Who are the other budget point guards? Dwayne Wade, Cade Cunningham. There's a lot of good options that you can run at basically every single position that will allow you to build a solid squad that has primary ball handlers, guys who can defend, and everybody can space the floor and shoot the 3 without spending a lot of MT and taking advantage of free cards as well. Then when you're in game, you want to make sure you put on your offensive and defensive settings, make sure you're spacing the floor, run your pick and roll, run your 5 out, take the easy buckets that are given to you, and then don't give up 3s in the defensive end of the court. Make your opponent work for tough 2s. Don't overswing. Don't try to force things. Just take what's given to you on offense and then make it as hard as possible on defense for your opponent to score the ball without overextending yourself and giving up 4-pointers and 3-pointers and things like that. If you do all those things, you're going to have a lot of success, and you will be able to get this Fernando Martin on your squad relatively easily and add one of the best cards in the game to your team. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it is helpful as well. If it is, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with our 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.